Let's go over the Star Wars franchise when it comes to the character of Luke Skywalker and his final thoughts before his death in The Last Jedi. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, at the very end of The Last Jedi, we all witnessed the passing of Luke Skywalker as he faded into the sunset of ahch-to and became one with the Force, very much how Yoda did and as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, looking at everything that we have been learning about when it comes to Luke Skywalker in the official The Last Jedi novelization, we do know that as he is meditating on that rock on ahch-to, apparently he thinks he hears a voice saying, "Let go, Luke." That could very well be Obi-Wan Kenobi reaching out to him, telling him to let go. But looking at the Last Jedi comic by Gary Whitta, I want to go over something very intriguing, and it goes over Luke's final thoughts just before he fades into the sunset of ahch-to and becomes one with the Force into the netherworld. So looking at this, alright, it's a very interesting piece for sure. As Luke Skywalker is looking at the sunset just before his cloaks fall down to the meditation rock, he says to himself, "And so it ends as it began, by the light of two suns, before stepping into a larger world." Now, what's really great about this, guys, I gotta say, is that it really does give us a little callback to A New Hope, which I'll get into in just a second. Now, the cinematography, I will agree, it was beautiful in The Last Jedi. However, this was not the right time for him to die, I feel. This felt like the end of the trilogy. This feels like a moment that should have been at the very end of Star Wars Episode 9. I mean, heck, even George Lucas intended for Luke's death at the very end of his version of Episode 9. Now, I love how Luke Skywalker delivers the dialogue as a callback to how Obi-Wan Kenobi got him to step into a larger world. Obi-Wan's, earliest words to Luke Skywalker clearly have not been forgotten by him, which is a very good thing to actually take note of here, because when Luke Skywalker says that just before he vanishes into the sunset of ahch-to, when he thinks to himself, you know, before stepping into a larger world, very much like what Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke on Tatooine before he began his journey. Now, Gary Whitta, the writer of the comic, you know, he was able to add in more depth to Luke Skywalker's death. So now whenever you guys watch that death in The Last Jedi, we at least know Luke Skywalker's thoughts, very much how we learned of Han Solo's final thoughts before his death after being stabbed by his son Kylo Ren by use of his crossguard lightsaber. We learned of his thoughts in the Force Awakens novelization. Now, in the comic, we actually learned about what Luke Skywalker was thinking. Now, while I don't mind how Luke died, visually speaking, I heavily disagree with two things here: the timing of his death and what caused his death. Of course, you know, what caused his death was the Force projection technique, also known as the doppelganger technique. Now, in Dark Empire, which was an EU comic, I gotta say, great comic, Luke harnessed this power by use of the dark side of the Force when he was actually under the manipulation of Emperor Palpatine after he was resurrected. So he was able to pull off that, you know, stunt, that power, and actually lived. I feel like Luke should have honestly used that power in The Last Jedi and survived it and go into Episode 9 and actually die in a different way. That would have been more, you know, fitting if you guys had to ask me. But looking at this dialogue, guys, I gotta say, it is great dialogue. It's, you know, real great internal monologue for the character of Luke Skywalker when he says, "And so it ends as it began, by the light of two suns, before stepping into a larger world." Now, like I said before, visually speaking, beautiful death. Just the timing was terribly wrong in my opinion. The middle film of this trilogy just didn't work for me at all. And also, you know, what caused his death, the Force projection technique, I just didn't agree with it at all. I just felt off. But looking at Luke Skywalker in Episode 9, let's just hope that he's going to do something spectacular in the form of either a Force ghost or, you know, kind of in the form of a vision and or flashback sequence. I know a lot of you guys hate hearing that, but, you know, it's very much unlikely that he will be coming back to life in Episode 9, as much as we all hope to see. Now, sure, JJ Abrams confirmed that Luke Skywalker is dead. He told Mark Hamill, "No, you're dead, get used to it all." So, you know, JJ has lied before in the past with Star Trek, you know, with Khan and all. So who knows? You know, maybe he's lying once again about Luke in Episode 9. You know, the future is very mysterious at this point when it comes to Star Wars as a whole, specifically for the character of Luke Skywalker. And since this is the final film of the Skywalker saga, we are in for a lot of big surprises according to not only Donald Gleason, but the whole entire cast of Star Wars Episode 9 as well. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.